So how do we bring mindfulness into a recovery coaching session? Now, mindfulness, what does that mean? Like, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the aspects of mindfulness. We're talking about coming in with it being present, non-judgmental, being fully aware of what's going on around us and within us, and also, accepting whatever comes up as it is.
Yeah.
These are all, I would say, crucial elements of bringing a wonderful coaching session forward, right?
It's so interlinked. And I would add to that actually intuition, because also that's another piece that I think that having a mindfulness practice really helps us to have that deep sense of intuition and understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let's talk about.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have this like that you're living in an ashram or anything like that. That you've got to have this really deeply embedded mindfulness practice. We can bring elements of mindfulness. We can borrow elements of mindfulness into our coaching session. Now, being present seems like a no-brainer. Well, sure, I'm present. Well, really, are you? Are we really, really present? Like knowing that anything in the past is merely a memory and it's discolored by our own personal beliefs and our own, it's going to be wrong. So let go of the past, and anything in the future is just simply imagined. All we have with this client is right this very nanosecond, and being with them moment to moment to moment through this coaching experience can really elevate that experience for both coach and recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that, if I am listening really well in my session, I'm going to be noticing the language that they're using. I'm going to be noticing the tone that they might be using. I will notice even facial expressions, body language, and taking all of those pieces into consideration when I am working with this person, right? I want to know, like, what was just happening there? And that's something that you're really,
Well,
really
yeah,
good at.
and and if you find that you're missing chunks of the coaching session, like you've actually lost parts of what did they say here, you've been distracted. Not only have you been distracted, but you've actually been distracted and you got lost in distraction.
Yeah.
We are going to get distracted. Our brains are built that way. We get distracted. The thing is just noticing, I've been distracted, I'm coming back. Like even in discussion, especially in discussion, this happens a lot. You get distracted and you come back. You get distracted and you come back. And it's a continual exercise of getting not lost in thought, but distracted by a thought and then coming back to the discussion.
Right. And we come by it honestly, right? I mean, science tells us that, in fact, our thoughts are so much faster than the speed of speech. So there's a lot of playtime for, someone may be speaking, and you may be gone right now as I'm speaking. But just the idea that there's a lot of extra playtime for your mind to go out and do other things while someone is speaking, because we're not speaking fast enough
And a
for
little
the mind.
nugget of our brain, the anterior cingulate cortex, is self-referencing. It's always asking, what about me, what about me, what about me?
Right.
And so it's always looking for what my experience has been that's like this. And so quieting that is just noticing that I've been distracted, come back.
Yeah.
I've been distracted, come back.
And one of the most powerful ways of doing that, in the moment, is simply to come back to an awareness of breath. For me, it's like having a superpower, really, just being able to come back to the moment by accessing the awareness of my breath, the awareness of what's happening in the moment, and just merging back into this conversation. So, and the longer I have a practice, the more I am able to really remain and really hang in with them. And you have a beautiful way of putting it, to coach until the coach disappears, right?
Yeah, and I think that's probably the epitome of coaching for me is when I feel like I've actually dissolved and all that's left is conversation that's roiling between the two. It's just, there's no more me involved here. It's just a coaching session happening.
Yeah, and an opportunity to touch into that intuition, and there's this sort of energy that's being passed, this collaboration that's occurring between two people.
Well,
right?
and you can feel it happen on the other end too, and all you got is this beautiful generative moment where there's this beautiful brainstorming that's occurring, and with no sort of direction or agenda involved. It's just simply this roiling conversation between two people.
Right. And, we see that as a common error that a new coach might make, which is to have an agenda, to pass judgment, to think that, I know what needs to happen here. And so then leading in that direction, as opposed to, in mindfulness, we talk a lot about, just having no resistance, to just really welcome whatever is here with an open hand, right? And to really accept things exactly as they are, and not having that resistance and wanting to push back. So it's a really, when someone is met with that kind of non-judgment, acceptance, compassion for where they are, deep care, without an agenda, like that's a beautiful space to be held in, especially when normally they might have had somebody nagging at them, had somebody threatening them, telling them what they need to do, giving them advice. I mean, it's just let me get my notepad so I can take all this down, right? But when we can be there as a mindful coach and really just meet them exactly as they are, without agenda, it's beautiful.
And letting them take the wheel. Like, this is their journey, this is their path, they're steering but it's one thing to give them the wheel and then sit in the back and start beaking off at them like a backseat driver. Like, if we have a destination in mind, we need to be aware of that. Hold on a second, I need to let go and let them, I can say there's a turn up ahead if you want to take it, throw the high beams on if necessary, but let them take the wheel and really discover what the possibilities are. And through really good brainstorming, and it's not about steering them in one direction or another, but it's just examining what some of the possibilities are.
Yeah. No, mindfulness and recovery coaching are so interlinked and interplayed together.
They dovetail beautifully.
It's really, really necessary. And there may even be times where I'm working with someone and something that they say, a story that they might tell, might create an internal response for me, or a memory or something for me that might come up. And again, with a good mindfulness practice in place, I can kind of name it to tame it. Just sort of knowing that, okay, that has just come up for me. I can stop. I can take a breath. I can observe and go, okay, I noted that, and then proceed. Return, merge back in. And it may be something like, if there's anything I've noticed about recovery coaching, it is an opportunity for self-growth that is unmatched anywhere, because there's always going to be things that I will need to work on. I will never have been arrived as a recovery coach. I am always given more opportunities to grow, because these little internal responses, and I go, oh, okay, that's still there. Interesting.
Yeah.
Right? And bringing that curiosity, that's another element of mindfulness that is so imperative to a recovery coaching experience, is I want to get curious about, really, tell me more about that. Like, what's going on with that, right? And that's another beautiful element of result
both
of a
them,
mindfulness
right?
coach.
Is that curiosity. And if things are driven by good curiosity, the questions are amazing.
Yeah.
And the agenda is completely washed away. And all we have is curiosity. And it's really hard for somebody to dig in who's got problems and they're looking for a solution. It's really hard to have them dig in against curiosity, because if you're asking with curiosity, it's like, they just want to know. Like, there's no hidden agenda here. It's just, they're curious.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big difference between, being curious about something and, sort of pile driving for an answer, right? So
two sides of this. I mean, if you have mindfulness practice, that's great. It'll really serve you well. If you don't, bring elements of mindfulness into your coaching practice, and again, be fully present, like with your attention and the whole bit. Be curious. Bring a sense of non-judgment to it, and invoke your own intuition. All of these things are available to you moment to moment, with or without a mindfulness practice. If you have a mindfulness practice in addition, you will be amazing at bringing these elements into your coaching practice.
Yeah. In this next video series, we're going to be talking about the one thing that really makes this whole recovery coaching work, which is motivational interviewing. It's the key thing that you need to know as a recovery coach.